I think there is no doubt that when any foreign government tries to impact the integrity of our elections, that we need to take action, and we will, at a time and place of our own choosing. Some of it may be explicit and publicized, some of it may not be. But Mr. Putin is well aware of my feelings about this because I spoke to him directly about it.
It's interesting, Van. I mean, the president is talking as if he has another term. I mean, he's got a little bit more than a month left in office, so he can't really say for sure whether there would be a response under a President Trump.
Well, we have one president at a time, which I think we've somehow forgotten. And he's president of the United States for a month. You can do a lot in a month. Right. And
well, time and place of our choosing, time is short.
Exactly. That's fair enough. Fair enough. He has more time to be president than me and you. So I think he can use that time very well. But sometimes I think we get lost in all of the, Trump said a mean thing about Josh Earnest. We say, well, he shouldn't say mean things. Well, he should say mean things. I think there's bigger happening here. There is a dictatorship on the European continent, and it is hostile, and it has nuclear weapons, and it is trying to encroach upon the European democracies. And America, for generations, thought that was a bad enough thing that we created something called NATO to try to hold back this hungry dictatorship. And what has happened is they know they can't beat us straight up, so they're now using dirty tricks, cyber tricks, to undermine our country and our commitment to our allies. That's the big story here. And what is shocking is we now have an American president that doesn't seem to, he didn't get the memo that we're supposed to be protecting our democratic allies against a dictatorship. And I haven't heard him say that, and it's frightening to me and our European allies.
It is interesting, though, to hear it from Democrats, though, because with President Obama, I know as a Republican, one of the frustrating things was he never seemed to grasp that Russia is our enemy. As you were saying, he came into office trying to be friendly with them. He underestimated them every step of the way. Under the tutelage of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, we had, half of U.S. uranium going over to Russia, and he seemed to underestimate them at every step. But where was the Democratic outrage then at President Obama?
Can I speak to that? And
sure.
I'm sure Paul will as well. There was a time where the bigger threat, I think, was from Iran and the concern that Iran was going to get nuclear weapons. And so Hillary Clinton, in her brilliance, was able to pull together both the Chinese, not our friends every day, and the Russians, not our friends any day, in an alliance to deal with Iran. You have to pick. You have to have sequences. But at no point do I believe that we said, well, geez, we're going to now say that you can attack our country, you can hack our infrastructure, you can mess with our elections, and that's okay too. And that's the concern I think we have here.
Yeah, I think it's a fair criticism that the president hasn't been tough enough on Putin. I do. You do have to remember that Putin has always been in charge, but when Medvedev was his puppet, was some progress with the U.S. There was. We got those sanctions, which crippled Iran and forced them to the bargaining table. We got a very good nuclear weapons reductions treaty, the START treaty. So we got some few things done, but I think it's a fair point. The question is, do you answer perceived timidity by Obama with rushing into Putin's arms by Trump? I mean, he's not simply hesitant to use American power against Putin. He seems to embrace Putin, and I think that's a terrible threat. That Mike Morell, who ran the CIA, said that this is an existential threat to our democracy. This is a political 9/11. He's not a political hack. He's a career national security intelligence officer. That's what he is saying. And so I think it will start with the president for the next 34 days, but then President-elect Trump, who has put together, by the way, the most pro-Putin cabinet outside of Moscow. It's really frightening.
I think the tit-for-tat that Van had talked about between Trump and Josh Earnest, I think that pales in comparison to the developments we've had this afternoon and this evening with the president's interview. I think him saying that he is looking at taking action, some of it will be explicit and publicized, some will not. I think that says a lot. It kind of follows up with your previous guest saying, walk softly and carry a big stick. Sometimes you don't say anything and still carry a big stick. So it leads you to believe something may possibly be in the works to retaliate, and I think it's good that we're being cautious, we're being silent about it, but it goes into also, it might be non-contact, but it does not mean it's non-conflict. So I think this may be bubbling up in the next 30 days. We'll see.
Yeah. One thing that I know about Donald Trump is, remember during the campaign how we saw that he gave good hugs to Ted Cruz or to Carson, but when it came time to get them off the stage and to win, he had no qualms about hitting back. So I'm not sure everybody can say, oh, he's hugging Putin. He may, if it comes to it, he may just decide to cut him off. I don't know that, but I have seen him many a time.
What would cause it? Cyber terrorism against America?
Yeah.
Gee, that just happened.
I know.
But he was the beneficiary of that, so
I don't
that's okay?
know. Yeah, Paul. I don't know that, but I do know. I've seen him make these decisions where he's like, enough already. I've had it.
Right.
I don't know when that is. He's not the president now either, but.